You go into your shower feeling, but as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.
From the Delta Sky Club
Welcome back, Miss Klein.
to the Jet Bridge, Delta Airlines relies on 5G solutions from T-Mobile for Business to power operations and serve customers faster. Together, we're putting 5G into the hands of ground staff so they can better assist on-the-go travelers with real-time information throughout the airport. This is elevating customer experience. This is Delta Airlines with T-Mobile for Business. Take your business further at T-Mobile.com/now.
It's time for a Big Blue Kickoff Live.
Nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it because you did.
On Giants.com.
You know what I saw? New York Giant pride.
And the Giants mobile app.
17-14 is the final. One touchdown, we are world champions. Believe it, and it will happen.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. Have some fun.
Welcome into a Wednesday edition of Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. Thanks for being with us. Madelyn Burke here, along with the Super Bowl champ, Howard Cross. Phone number here is 201-939-4513, or you can find us on Twitter at #GiantsChat. As a reminder, you can find the entire archive of this show and our entire podcast network on the Giants mobile app or on podcast platforms everywhere, plus at giants.com/podcast. Howard, I gotta start the show giving out some flowers here because Giants, first of all, not only coming off a win on the road in Seattle,
okay,
but a win in which special teams came up with a huge play.
Brilliant.
So much so, I mean, flowers to Michael Gabriel for drawing up the play and for coming up with the concept and for waiting for the right time to use it. But also flowers to Isaiah Simmons, who has been named Special Teams Player of the Week.
Really? That's nice.
NFC Special Teams Player of the Week after pulling the Cam Chancellor in Seattle, hurdling the line, and making the block on the field goal. And
very big play. You know, the Dexter Lawrence had a little bit to do with that as well, pulling the guard down so he can give him a little room. He made a nice jump, which was excellent, and blocks the ball. We can't have any more than that. Actually, we can. The run back for the touchdown.
There you go.
I thought he was going to slide and not go in and then kill the clock. He goes, yeah, not a chance. I'm taking it all the way in.
Listen, we saw this a couple weeks ago. Devin Singletary pulled that move. He ran it all the way down to the one, slid because he knew presence of mind. Let's just get down and run the clock and win the game. Bryce Ford-Wheaton, this is his first NFL touchdown.
He's the way, baby.
Get that pay dirt, man. I respect it. I think he has earned it. Bryce Ford-Wheaton has had such a journey. Of course, an undrafted rookie who missed his entire first season with an ACL injury, comes back as a training camp favorite, makes the 53-man roster, and then makes a play in Week 5 in Seattle. So we love this storyline for Bryce Ford-Wheaton.
I like it. I think it's great. I think it's fun for him to run down. I was like, is he going to slide? And he's like,
no.
No, he's picking up speed.
Yeah. Him and Nick McLeod running down the field like, this is
awesome.
This is so much fun. And realistically, yes, you could have slid, milked the clock, but scoring the touchdown wasn't detrimental. It was a 9-point game at that point, and they held on to the win. Other news to start our show today, of course, head coach Brian Daboll is at the podium currently speaking to the media. One of the points that he brought up is Kayvon Thibodeau, week to week with a wrist injury, saying that Tibbs had surgery this morning on his wrist.
What?
Daboll saying, I'm encouraged with what I've heard about this. So, Kayvon Thibodeau, wrist surgery this morning. Safe to say he's a scratch this week on Sunday Night Football against the Bengals. Azeez Ojulari, of course, will be important with that absence.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what the surgery is and the way they brace it up now, man, he could even play Sunday night, believe it or not. It's crazy. I don't expect him to, but you definitely could.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, depending on the severity. Plus, Malik Neighbors still in concussion protocol. He'll be outside, though. We'll be working on the side today, so trending in the right direction. Of course, Neighbors did not travel to Seattle for the Week 5 matchup with the Seahawks.
And that gave the team a little chance to, showcase some other offensive weapons, and they did a good job. Slayton did a great job. Robson always. We had Theo got in there, caught a few balls.
Howard loves a good tight end moment.
I had him on the missing persons report, so he's off the milk carton now. He's in the game. I love it.
Off the milk carton, love to see it. And then of course Devin Singletary, limited today, but is trending in the right direction. Singletary, of course, missed the game in Seattle with the groin injury, and so limited today, trending in the right direction. We'll see about his availability on Sunday Night Football, but of course, Tyrone Tracy gave a lot of optimism to the depth of that room.
Yeah, Tracy did a great job. You could see him as the game kind of wore on and he kept getting more reps. He started to I could have bounced that outside. The next time he gets up, he bounces it outside. I'm like, okay, I see him. He very good control. I would say ball control of the game. He was you're switching the ball to the outside hand to keep it from getting knocked away from the guys trying to swipe at it. So it was really good to see him run, show some great speed when he made those moves on the outside. It becomes a foot race. I like him in a foot race almost every time. So he really, made the offensive line's job look even better.
Absolutely. And then, of course, some other things to monitor today in terms of the injuries on the list. We've got a couple more. Who is it? John Runyon, it looks like, is ill, and Greg Van Roten is getting a vet day today. So, it means he's a vet and he's getting a day. He doesn't have to practice. It's like, okay, listen, you paid your dues.
Okay.
I don't know. So, I guess there's it's load management. But, so it's, it's a long season. It's week 6. You want to monitor the health of especially some of the older guys on the roster. And that's what, Brian Dable and this coaching staff is doing.
Yes, they're doing a good job of it, though. As long as they keep playing the way they played today, I don't care what they do during the week.
Absolutely. And, of course, we talked quite a bit, I'm sure, on this program throughout the week with, the other hosts on the show and on our Giants Hangout about just how incredible that Seahawks win is.
Yeah.
The momentum of it, getting a win in that building. I mean, the last time the Giants won there was 2020 where there was no fans. And prior to that, it had been a long time before.
It had been a very long time before.
It's a hard place to win. So, and not just getting the win in that building, but also one thing that I think is a testament to the coaching is the discipline of this team. The Giants had just 2 penalties. They didn't have any pre-snap penalties, which in an environment like that where it's that loud and that raucous and you're trying to work the silent count and trying to stay on the same page, that's a situation where you get those everyone but the center flags.
Well, it was really funny because you're thinking about that, no penalties for illegal procedure, and it was so loud, especially early in the game, that you couldn't hear anything. I couldn't hear the show through my headphones, and they still weren't jumping off sides. And I think that it's more impressive that they weren't jumping off sides. They had motions and shifts and doing everything, and they just ran the offense like it didn't matter.
Yeah, absolutely. They were, and to their credit too, the fact that the Giants were able to execute offensively and kind of take the crowd out of it at moments, not significantly, not the entire time. Of course, the 12s are always going to show up loud, but there were moments in which that crowd was a little bit okay. What? I see you.
You know what? When they're running the ball like that and they're keeping it and squeezing all the air out of it, it drains the crowd pretty much. They're like, "Ooh, we got to get the ball back eventually here," and it also puts a lot of pressure on the Seahawks offense because as they're sitting out there, they're a high-powered offense. They can score at any moment. And they're on the sidelines watching. They're like, "Come on, guys, you can get them. Slow them down. Let's go."
Right. Yeah. It's like, okay, you're almost needing to warm up again after that kind of an effort. You mentioned high-powered offense. I mean, Geno Smith leads the league in passing yards, passing attempts. They air the ball out. Yeah, well, and
he's got a lot of guys over there.
He's got a lot of guys.
Yeah.
And the Giants DBs did a really great job in coverage. Tay Banks, I thought, had an incredible game. He took the coaching from Jerome Henderson this week and said, all right, listen, I'm going to level up and really had a tough matchup being against DK Metcalf a few times, forced that fumble.
Yep.
And held DK to kind of a bit of a stifled stat line.
He did stifle him a little bit. He got up in his grill, as you could say. He stayed really tight to him. Even Flott got on Big Metcalf one time and knocks the ball down. It looked so funny to see his little body reaching across to knock the ball down. I was like, look at this. This is incredible.
I don't think Cordell Flat wants to be referred to as his little body.
He's a little dude. He's slight.
Okay. He's a slim build.
Is that how you want to do it?
I would call him a slim build.
I'm saying slight.
All right. I don't know.
He'll hit you though.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He'll bring it.
He's a good cover guy too. He's great skills.
Yeah. And then of course, that pressure starts up front too. The Giants had 7 sacks on the day, 3 of them Dexter Lawrence, and I really like the way that Shane Bowen disguised a lot of these pressures. It would look like you're sending like 7-8 guys and then several guys drop back into coverage, and Bowen's defense really heavily reliant on that front 4 to bring the pressure, and they were able to execute that and do that well.
They had, you know what? The defensive line played so well, led by Dexter. Dex is like a wrecking ball in there. I say this all the time. He looks like a Pop Warner game where the kid's really, really big, and you had to get his birth certificate. And how much do you actually weigh? Are you really that old? Like playing with little kids. And so what he looks like sometimes when he's out there, and it's pretty cool. I thought Trayvon did a good job. Thibodeau, he was awesome off the edge.
Burns had a sack.
Had a sack.
Yeah.
They tried to run a little trick play, and he went back and sacked the quarterback instantly. I think some of the young guys also got in there, got some half sacks and some pressure. So I think the D-line as a whole was really impressive.
I think also it's interesting because, we've heard that the frustrations or concerns with Giants fans who are like, hey, Brian Burns, I thought he was supposed to be this game wrecker, and it's taken him a little bit to get involved in the stat sheet and into the outcome. We saw the same thing with Bobby Okereke last year, right? When you're coming new to a team, new to an environment, it takes a little while to get your sea legs, and then you kind of hit your stride. We're just, 5 games into the season.
Well, also, they're chipping him a little bit to try to keep him out of the plays. When you see him running really fast by there, he blew by the tackle one time so fast that he was behind Geno before he could slow down.
Right.
So he's like learning kind of like the angles and stuff. And there's nobody more frustrated with it than him. I'm watching as guys are going in at halftime. He's still looking at the screen going like, what? How in the world did I miss that? I'm like, okay.
Right.
So he's a very intense young man. He really wants to get it done. And when you see guys working at that hard and really grinding, it means a lot to him.
Right. And so this will be another test for this defense, because Sunday night you got the Bengals coming to town. And yes, you look at their record, Bengals 1-4. Oh, that's not too shabby. But Joe Burrow is coming off a overtime loss to the Ravens in which Burrow threw 5 touchdown passes. He's thrown 12 touchdown passes on the season. That's leading the National Football League. He's second in the NFL with a 72.3% completion percentage. This guy can move the ball. This offense is putting up points. It's just like when your fantasy team is having the best outing you've ever had, and then you just happen to be going up against the person who scores more than you that week.
Exactly.
I feel like that's what the Bengals have been going through, that compared to the fact that, or combined with the fact that their defense has been allowing the opponents to give up quite a few points. So for the Giants, scoring points, controlling the time of possession, and really limiting Burrow's time with the ball. Really?
Yeah, it's going to be, excuse me, it's going to be all about, ball control. They got to squeeze all the air out of the ball. It's more important this week than any
Not
other
literally, because Tom Brady did that once, and it turns out we're not allowed.
Yeah, we're not allowed to do that.
Pearson
way,
salty
but,
that.
but you got to hold on to the ball. Possession's got to be really, really high for the Giants, because they're not doing that. And you're looking at looking across the field. I'm telling you, Burrow will light it up. He has no problem getting it down the field. You got Jamar Chase out there who has a man on a mission because he didn't get his money. He really, really is like trying to show like, hey, look, I'm going to be the highest paid guy next year. If this is the way you want to do it, I'm going to make you pay for it. So he's really going after him. Literally, I don't think there's a flaw in their skill position guys. They're excellent all around the board.
Absolutely, and the Giants are going to have to continue to bring the pressure too. Did you know that the Giants are leading the NFL in sacks this season? 22 sacks.
I can't believe that.
The only other team with 20 or more sacks is the undefeated 5-0 Minnesota Vikings.
Wow.
The fact
that's impressive.
It is impressive. And you think about, because especially coming into this season, the narrative around, Shane Bowen's defense, Wink would send the blitz, Wink would try to get this out, get to the quarterback. Is that pressure still going to be there? Clearly it is.
It's, you know what? And it's the D linemen mostly that are getting all the sacks. D line are getting most of the sacks.
Not necessarily, though.
You'll get a safety every once in a while.
Jason Pinnock, he's got 3 on the season. That's a career high for him. And it's we're only a few games in.
Yeah, well, like I said, when
We've seen Drew Phillips. And,
when they blitz, they don't expect them to be blitzing. They don't expect to see them coming in the backfield, and all of a sudden, you got them.
Plot twist.
It's a big plot twist because he's not known for blitzing at all.
Exactly. But you know what? Getting creative with it, throwing some different looks at it as well. Giants fans, make sure you go and subscribe to the Giants Huddle podcast. It features long-form interviews with Giants players, coaches, and front office staff, past and present. Plus, hear from the best analysts covering Big Blue and the NFL. Search for Giants Huddle and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, or simply go to giants.com/podcast. And don't forget, if you are on Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star positive review for all of our Giants podcasts. Let us know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal. 201-939-4513 is the phone number. I just want to shout out John Schmelk for getting the phone lines fixed. I know we were having some technical difficulties last week, but Schmelk said, no. We want to hear from you. We want the callers. So let's go to the phones. We've got Big Ed in Maryland on line 1. Big Ed, you're on Big Blue Kickoff Live with Howard and Madelyn. How's it going?
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Doing well.
Come on in now.
Hey, what's up, Howard, man? Hey, man. Hey, Howard. Hey, look. Remember what I said before the season started, right?
Yep.
We supposed to be 10-0, right?
It's supposed to be. It's all right, though. We would have been close. We had a couple plays here and there. It would have been probably 5-1 or 4-1, whatever it is. It would have been pretty close.
Nah, I see 5-0. That offense is working like it was Sunday. We'd be 5-0 now. Oh my goodness.
Well, they're you don't want to peak too soon, right? You know, you gotta.
They've been going. Daniel Jones looks good.
This is the big part, though. See, we got to show this consistency this week. We got to somehow win this game without getting too hurt. Because you guys just mentioned like a couple people that's hurt.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, no. All right, so we still got to play aggressive. We still just don't let them we can't let them throw that deep ball because they will. Oh, my gosh, that boy will.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if we practice, this is what I saw from the game, okay? Let me say this real quick. So we practiced well last week. We practiced so well, it showed up in the game. And once we keep playing in that level, we should be winning most of those games.
Yep.
The only way you lose it is because somebody didn't do something when we needed it done. You know, because it's like game is 4 quarters. You can make mistakes in the first 3. But that 4th quarter, everything got to get tightened up because you're getting it in. You know how it go out.
Yeah, that's where it is.
But then, and look, and then the best part I like, too, one great part I heard, was the fact that we took a tight end down the middle of the field. I preached for you, Howard. I said it last week. I said, man, we got to go to our tight ends to win this game because they are a big force in the passing game. Get them past the linebackers. Man, you got a big target. It's not hard to do something with something like that.
Yeah.
And then big shout-outs to the running game and Isaiah, man.
Yeah.
Everybody, man.
Everybody played great,
awesome.
man.
Yeah, and it showed.
Absolutely.
It wasn't like, it didn't show inconsistency. It didn't show anything off. Everybody understood total focus. Got to do the same thing this Sunday night with this primetime game. Get this thing, whatever it is, off of him off, man. He got to come out and just show greatness, and it will be there.
All right.
And that's what I'm going to leave with right now. So I'll try to get back with you guys on Friday.
All right. Thanks so much for calling, Ed.
I think that's pretty funny. Ed said we're going to be like 10-0. When by the 14-0, I think he said what we should have been by this. I'm like, wow. So we're going to write that down. But that's a big call. He's right. I think the offense is playing a lot better. I think Daniel Jones is with time is looking better and better every game, which is exciting to see and to hear. I think also, Tracy. is not a surprise. I knew he was going to run like that because watching him a little bit in Purdue, I was like, if he gets the motor going a little bit, he will be pretty fantastic.
Right.
So, the running back room looks really good right now. I think, the receivers kind of picked it up. Theo getting a chance to catch the ball some. I thought that was a big part of the game. But remember, Neighbors caused all of that before, because when you have somebody that great, you're trying to give him the ball all the time. So all these other guys kind of wilted a little bit. Now that he's not in the game, they're picking it up. It's not like he wants them not to pick it up. He wants them to play better and better every week too. But you see it. You saw it in San Francisco. You see it in San Francisco a little bit. You saw it a little bit in Kansas City. They had big time receivers out there that came in early. It's like these guys are coming in and like they're threats down the field. Like the quarterbacks were looking for them.
I don't know though that the other skill position players have necessarily wilted. It's just more of that the fact there's one ball, and they haven't had it in their hands. And I mean, we saw this week, even with Jalen Hyatt. A lot of people expected Neighbors is out. Hyatt's going to be the guy. Hyatt, had some pretty great route concepts. He drew some coverage away. Mm-hmm. He had a nice
some
block.
blocks. Yeah,
exactly. Good call, Pearson. He had a nice block in there as well. So just because he's not getting the ball in his hand doesn't mean he's not making an impact on the play.
Oh, no, I get that part.
And so I think some of these other receivers too, or skill position players, which of course you get, but I'm saying to the listeners, like some of these other skill position players, just because they're not having the ball in their hand or not being the target of the pass, doesn't mean they're not affecting the play. And when you've got a guy like Neighbors out there, that's the number one look.
When we're talking about wilting, we're talking about the numbers. They're not getting the numbers.
That makes sense. Yeah.
You're not like, oh man, I'm going to get this many. You're like, okay, well, he's getting all the plays.
Right.
And you're like, I got to do something else, but you're wilting your numbers. You're like, you want your numbers, especially when you're a guy that's getting paid to catch the ball.
Exactly. That makes sense, too. And you want to have those numbers, especially when the contract negotiation comes up. But in terms of the win-loss, I mean, with Dexter Lawrence out there, that special teams play doesn't happen without Dexter Lawrence.
Definitely not.
But the casual NFL fan watching it doesn't even notice Dexter Lawrence.
Well, I hope they didn't.
I hope they notice, but I mean, doesn't notice. The casual fan is like saying, "Oh wow, Isaiah made that great leap, and Bryce Ford Wheaton had the scoop and whatever," because you're watching the ball.
We're not supposed to be talking about that. I don't know how that's going to be ruled later. that play might disappear.
You know what? It's we're playing by the rules, and
it's a Belichick way right there. If it's within the rules, you still do it.
Not no. I mean, hey, if the tush push is still legal. Don't have no in your heart, right?
I can't believe you call it that.
The brotherly shove, is that better?
No.
Okay. Giants fans, take your fandom to the next level with a season ticket membership. Stay connected to the club all year round, not just on game days. Memberships are now available for the 2024 season. To learn more about all the exclusive member benefits, visit giants.com/tickets. Limited inventory is available. 201-939-4513 is the phone number as we head back to the phone lines. Vinny in Florida. Vinny, you're on Big Blue Kickoff Live with Howard and Madelyn. How's it going?
Hey, Vinny, first off, hopefully stay safe down there, bro.
Yeah, hopefully you're not in the danger zone in Florida.
I'm in a high-risk area. In St. Augustine. We just got to keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best.
Oh, man.
Okay, well, if they tell you to evacuate, get out of there immediately, if not sooner.
I'm far enough away from the beach that we won't have that, but yeah.
Okay.
Hey, but I appreciate you guys asking for it. Before I get into the football stuff, Madelyn, I want to challenge you.
Uh-oh.
I want a number of wins that you're going to say, set it high, not out of this world, for the tattoo.
First of all, Vinny.
Give us a win total.
Oh, my goodness.
Give us a win total. For
Vinny,
a giant helmet either on the somewhere on the body.
Oh, Lord.
All right, listen, I told you last year that it was a Super Bowl. So if there is a Super Bowl win is what I would ask for the tattoo.
Wow.
Oh, come on, let's negotiate a little bit. Can we go with 12 wins?
Wow.
12 is a stretch. Come on,
12 wins? I mean, that's pretty much like undefeated the rest of the season, right?
Madelyn, don't do it, Madelyn.
12 and 5 they would have to be. Come on, Howard, let her make the decision. Come on, I'm working on this, Howard.
12 and 5 with an NFC Championship appearance. I'll consider it, Vinny.
Wow.
Consider it, okay.
I'll consider it. But really, the Super Bowl was the Super Bowl was the vibe.
Oh my goodness. All right, Vinny.
I appreciate though.
A real football question, though.
I mean, honestly, I appreciate the callback because this was a last season thing that I said. And Vinny, hold me to my word, and I respect it.
Oh,
I remember it. Yeah, what I wanted to say, how many people in the beginning of this year were thinking Malik, Theo, and Tracy as our studs, running back, tight end, and wide receiver. We are all hyping Malik, but if this year progresses, and I'm an excited fan that's just looking at the positives and not the negatives, if this year progresses, we got the opportunity to go into next year, and I'm hoping this is going to be a solid year, with real good weapons at all three of those positions. Theo's had his coming out party, and I heard you mention it earlier in the show, Howard. He had 5 catches, and one was down the field.
Yep.
One was, in a place where you say, hey, if he can start running patterns like that, that opens up this offense in a whole different way than we've shown it in the first 4 games, and even with the 5th game with Malik not having it.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm excited about it. I can't remember when I've been this excited about a Giants team. They've made improvement every week. The second thing is these fans have to stop crushing Daniel Jones. I know there's a piece out there. Every time I go to a bar and wear a Giants shirt, someone asks me, what about Daniel Jones? And I said, I've been saying this for years. I can't evaluate him until he has a line to protect him.
Yep.
And he does this year. And, he's getting better. And last week with the 2 deep balls got me even more excited because I thought that this was going to be the time that he corrects everything because he's been going overthrowing and underthrowing. So curious on that. And then the last thing I wanted to say is I to you last week, Howard, and I predicted the Giants were going to win. I don't have a feeling this week. Cincinnati is probably the best 1-4 team I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to stand up to them. I think, when you rush 4 guys and you get pressure, you can cover a little for, a lack of a deep secondary. And they're holding their own. This is something that surprised me in a positive way yesterday. And that blocked field goal was out of a movie. I can't even think of a movie or any movie, but that thing was a fairy tale just happened. And I can't believe the guy schemed it up, and it worked. That assures him, and all the coaches, I think, are a lot more safer because this needs to be built the way they're building it right now.
Yes. Well, listen, the first things first, I think that the 3 rookies on the offense were drafted at every position that when they were getting their pick, they were the highest rated player when they were getting picked, when they were picking them, which is pretty cool that Joe Shane was able to do that, to get the right guy at the right moment, which was exciting, and they are actually producing. He did the same thing with the defense as well. The 2 corners and the safety, they are playing excellent football, and the linebacker, the young linebacker, also from UCLA, I believe,
Darius Moasso
is playing very well and contributing very well. I think that's pretty awesome. As far as, like I said, we've been talking about it kind of all day, is that you got to kind of squeeze the ball when you play against Cincinnati. You got to keep Joe Burrow off the field. Like he's a dangerous guy. His receivers are great. His running back's great. His tight end's pretty good. But their defense is struggling. So we want to make sure that we take advantage of that defense the best way we can. And I would love to see Daniel, throw for 300 yards and, get 5 or 6 touchdowns. But that would mean that Joe is throwing for 300 yards and getting 5 or 6 touchdowns. Yep. I'd rather it be more like throw for 180 yards, 200 yards, and run the ball and just keep him off the field. Sure. That would be the best win for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you think about the draft, I'll just say this last before I go. If you think about the draft class this year, they're not only started, but they're going into undrafted free agents. Yeah. Chapman is an undrafted free agent. They're 6 rounds deep, and they're all getting good. That's just like a fairy tale draft this year. They got starters already started, and now the other guys. It's exciting.
It's very exciting. Well, thank you again for your call.
Thanks for the call, Vinny. Appreciate it. I mean, that's a good point, too. And you got guys like Elijah Chapman who people across the league, one of the reasons that he was an undrafted guy is people across the league would look at him and say, well, he's got the skill, he's got the strength, but he's a little small. He's a little slight, to use your word.
He's a little small.
But then, in that Houston game, he just, put on the burners and shows that his speed and athleticism, and he makes the roster. And the fact that, the Giants and the front office and the scouting staff is able to say, I'm going to look at this player and at these players and not just at the obvious height, weight, size, whatever, but also the skill set that they have. And even if, okay, maybe this doesn't look like what I'd imagine a player at this position would look like, how do they play the position? And being able to separate that and find a gem of a player in Elijah Chapman, who is such a darling in this locker room.
He's pretty awesome kid. He's not that tall. But he runs great. He has great leverage. He moves well. He plays with great hands, and he's got the speed that gives an offensive lineman fits, because if you just miss him a little, he's by you, and you're trying to hold him to stop him from getting there. You just got to find a way to get your hands on him to try to slow him down.
Remember that Houston preseason game? He
blew off
to track down that running back.
I'm like, look at this dude.
Burners.
Who is this?
And not only that, he's got the locker right next to Malik Neighbors. So he understands, and he's like, listen, you know what? I'm going to step back. He's not, a diva about it. He's like, all right, you know what? I'm going to let Malik have his moment to talk to the media, and then I'm going to come back around later. And he's just such a team first guy.
Yeah, it's good, though. It's a lot of players out there that you think of the guys like the Aaron Donalds of the world, that they weren't that big. That position now is becoming that kind of size and speed kind of guy. You get Dexter over here, you got Chapman down here, and it's like very interesting look.
Well, and a guy like Dexter too. Like Dexter, you don't look at him and think that guy's going to be quick, fast, but he's fast too. He'll run down the quarterback like nobody's
I think
business.
the dance move alone just lets you know how athletic he is.
First of all, we got that sexy Dexy tutorial.
Oh my goodness.
Hit it. We want to see it. This man hit a somersault.
Yes.
He somersaulted off the field last weekend.
That was pretty cool.
I was like, how in what? But you know what? I respect it. He's like a giant kid having so much fun out there.
He's having the most fun ever. I love seeing those guys have a good time. And again, like I was saying, that just seeing the offense go out and meet them and to congratulate them when they're having a good series, and the defense goes out and meets the offense and having a good series. Watching Daniel go up and down, hitting all his linemen and going to the defense. Let's go, guys. I'm like, wow, these guys are fired up. I was excited for it the whole time.
They're fired up. It was endearing. And even, Good Morning Football did a segment when the Giants won, or when the blocked field goal happened, and they realized, wow, we got this game. Daniel Jones on the sideline is just like, I don't know what to do with my hands. Like, what? I don't know. And it's endearing. It's like, that's all of us. It's like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening.
Very exciting. It's very exciting.
It's great. And you mentioned it too, and Vinny mentioned it as well. The fact that the Giants are going to have to put up points to get a win on Sunday. You want to see him throw for 300 yards, but if they do, that means Joe Burrow's doing it. I mean, the Bengals, they're averaging 28 points a game this season, despite being 1-4. They're the fifth team to average 5 or more, or to average 28 or more points per game, despite starting 1-4 or worse in the team's first 5 games. Like, this doesn't happen. Teams that put up that many points do not have this kind of record on average. So you look at the struggles of the Bengals. This team is not their record, and I think that's something that needs to be reminded, because it's easy to look at it and be like, oh, well, they're
here's the other thing. They've lost all these games, but they've been fighting through the games also. It's not like they're going in and like he's throwing up junk points at the end of the game just to come back. They're in games nose to nose every game, and that's what's really weird about it. You would think they would find a way to stop somebody once or twice, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many times he scores. It's like the other team comes back down and scores again. So it's one of those things where you don't want it to come down to like whoever has the ball last wins, and you don't want Joe having the ball. That's the only thing you don't want.
Right, exactly. Giants fans, the Giants official connected TV streaming app Giants TV brings original video content and game highlights on demand and direct to Big Blue fans. Giants TV is free on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV, and on the Giants mobile app. 201-939-4513 is the phone number. Again, hat tip to John Schmelk getting the phone lines fixed. It's a little bit different system. We can just take one call at a time right now, but appreciate your patience. If you're trying to get through, keep trying. But right now, we're going to the phone lines because RJ in Georgia is on Big Blue Kickoff Live with Madelyn and Howard. RJ, how's it going?
What's going on, RJ?
Hey, what's going on, Madelyn and Howard? How you guys doing?
Very
well.
Good. Hey, listen, I'm just calling because I'm just a proud fan. You know, we all been waiting for the emergence of our offense. You know, we've been down for a while, and just to see them control the ball, control the clock, and they've been doing this now for at least 3 or 4 times where they have had the ball for 9 to 10 minutes. To see that transformation, that's only going to pay, to me, big dividends, you know, as the season progresses. And Daniel Jones, I have never seen him that animated on the sideline in his career. So I don't know what got into that dude, but you know what? Whatever it is, keep it up because I'm proud of that dude. And I just wanted to say that to you. I'm just a proud fan. I think the sky's the limit. If there's any team that needs a win at home, it's the New York Football Giants because we've been really bad at home, and it's time for those fans to see a good product on the field. I'll take it off the air. You guys enjoy your day.
Thanks so much for the call, RJ, and for the positivity. We love a positive moment because I think so often, you know, especially with the struggles the Giants have had, we've heard a lot of, you know, airing of grievances. Every day is Festivus on this show. But you know what? I really respect the moment of saying, you know what, I want to call in and just express some gratitude and positivity. RJ, love to hear it.
Definitely love to hear it. Love to hear the Giants fans being excited about wins and stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, and also, I agree with him. I'd like to see a win at home.
Absolutely.
And, you know, and get the monkey off the back for the primetime games. That would be also awesome. And the only way to do it, they got to squeeze the ball.
Because oftentimes, too, you get caught up in the narrative of a team.
Mm-hmm.
And primetime games really feed into that. I mean,
Yes.
You look at what's going on with Kirk Cousins right now. Kirk Cousins in Atlanta is having himself a season. And he's finally got those primetime wins happening. But for so long, anywhere Kirk Cousins would play, if it was after 7 p.m.,
so he was solar powered.
it was like, you know, the sun was down and
Yeah.
so was Kirk Cousins' productivity.
Yep.
And the narrative around him became such.
Yep.
Daniel Jones and the Giants, you know, have struggled in primetime games. And so, yes, the real ones know, the Giants fans who watch week in and week out know what kind of quarterback, what the possibilities are with this offense, but a national audience and the national narrative around the team is a little bit affected still. And I personally, for Daniel Jones and for this team, would love to see the national audience kind of take notice of like, okay, this guy isn't a punching bag, and this team isn't a joke. This is an actual NFL team that has an incredible looking offense and possibilities here, and it would be lovely to see that on that stage.
I'd love to see them win like 21-20 or 24-20, whatever it is. Just win, but
Just score more points.
I just don't need a lot of passes. I want in this particular game, keep the clock running. keep them on the side.
Howard wants to bring it back to old school NFC. 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Well, I'll take 8 yards in a cloud of dust, but three works. It's 3.5.
Also, speaking of 8 yards in a cloud of dust, again, Tyrone Tracy averaging 7.2 yards per carry on 18 carries. That is ridiculous.
7 yards in a cloud of dust.
No, but
7.2 yards in a cloud of dust.
But still, usually like 4.5. That's
he was
respectable.
He had two or three runs over 20 yards. That helps the average tremendously. And when like I said, you could see him. He started first. He was going inside and just like, okay. I'm like, it's simple math. If there's one guy out there, beat the one guy.
Right.
Don't try to cut back inside. There are 10 guys coming towards you. And finally, he dipped in and went out. When he went out, the guy had to turn and chase him. And I'm like, there you go.
Hit him with that Euro step, you know?
Give him the old dead leg. Like, hey, there it is.
Yeah.
So it looks good. And now guys are going to be, they're going to play contain a lot more.
Sure.
It's going to bring the corners down on the outside a little bit more. And they can't do that if the receivers are still, getting deep. And if the tight end just kind of jogs by, you're like, well, where's he going? He's running a route as he throw it to him. Like it's going to be interesting to see how they start to contain it. Like Tracy is is special in that aspect.
Well, and when you have, and people always say, you got to get the run game going to open up the passing game, because you have to actually have that threat of a run game, and the Giants have established that. But also, the Giants have attempted to establish in weeks past the threat of the long ball and hadn't been able to connect. Finally, in week 5, not once but twice on a single drive, they hit, Daniel Jones hits Darius Slayton for a 41-yarder and then a 30-yarder.
Yep.
So now you have to respect it. I mean, prior, even if they're attempting it and not connecting, it's like, okay, we have to respect it still. Now that they're connecting on that pass and that play, and they've found that chemistry there, DBs are going to have to respect it.
Yeah, but think about this, and this is like something that people don't really see. Like when he hits Slay on the 41-yard, that's a catch and tackle right there, right?
Right. That's the ball traveled that far in the air.
So that's the ideal. You want to throw it 40 yards.
Exactly.
You want to hit the receiver right at the 40-yard mark. So you being able to time it up where you're throwing it and he's getting to that mark at the same time is where they've been missing it just a little bit. The timing's been off more so than he's got to work on his deep throws. Like now the timing's just off. When they get the timing right, when he releases it, it's going to hit right where it's supposed to. And he did a great job of it. The one across the field was a even more impressive throw. He has to lead him as he's going to the end zone, and he's going across the field on a deep cross.
And I'm pretty sure Dable said that wasn't like the first option on that play too.
No, it was definitely not the first option.
You see DJ going through his progressions a little bit more and kind of finding Slayton on 30 yards.
And think about it, because he was kind of flush from the pocket. He was rolling over to his right side, so everything on the right's where he's supposed to be looking. He looks up and like, oh wait a minute, he looks like he's going to outrun him. Go kid! Like that's what it was.
30-yard touchdown pass across the body. Exactly. And this is the type of things that you're like, okay, see, this is.
Is this too early to call it? Danny Dimes maybe returning.
Maybe Daniel Dimes.
Daniel Dimes.
Dimes.
He's a little older now.
Also, he never. I remember when that nickname. He never liked. He's the kind of guy who's like, nobody ever called me Danny. I'm not a Danny. And I was like, well, too bad. The toothpaste is out of the tube, my friend, and Danny is happening.
Danny's returning.
But you know what? Maybe it's just Daniel back at it again with the white Vans.
I like it.
Either way, the fans will come up with something clever if he continues to ball out like he does. But a lot of it too comes from just the confidence that he has in the protection that he's getting, and he's got time. He's got a pocket. He's no longer immediately looking for the pass rush while also trying to find his receivers.
Yep.
And that has helped his game really kind of level up a bit, because he's now saying, okay, I can focus where I need to focus instead of having to look right in front of me, not trusting the protection I'm getting.
That's true. And because of the player that he is too, he gets a lot of zone coverages, because you saw what happens when people play man-to-man. The quarterback breaks the pocket. Like, there's nobody looking at him. He can just run for days, and nobody wants Daniel running down the field. Clear, like, we don't want to see that, because he could probably outrun some of the DBs in that case. So even coming off the knee surgery, he can still motor down the field pretty good.
Absolutely. 201-939-4513 is the phone number as we head back to the phone lines. Cliff in New York. You're on Big Blue Kickoff Live with Howard and Madelyn. Cliff, how's it going?
Hey, great time to be a Giant fan.
Very.
Yeah, there you go.
Actually, it's been a great time all along. I mean, if you're into progress, and you can see progress, which there was no shortage of.
Absolutely.
But anyway, something came up in the post game. By the way, I learned something more about how to catch up with you guys. I have the radio on during the telecast, so I stick there for the post game, and then I catch up with your version the next day. And I learned that if you guys haven't had a chance to post it on the website yet, I can get it at MSG Giants postgame.
Amazing.
A lot of connectivity.
Love it. We got MSG Giants postgame, Giants.com, and also on YouTube.
Yep.
And so if you haven't had a chance to, if it's not on the Giants.com website, they simulcast stream it on YouTube, and we'll archive it on the Giants YouTube page as well.
Yep. So a call comes in, and this guy starts complaining, and Schmelk says, "You're not going to complain today, are you?" And but he was just asking about the and this relates to the O-line, I think. He was asking about, I think it was the last time we had the ball before Gino drove down for the field goal, and we just needed to be able to run out the clock, and I think we had a 3-and-out. And I think they were all 3 pass plays, and that was his complaint. He said, well, if it was Parcells, we would have run the ball. So I was thinking maybe as great as the O-line has been, and we're all thrilled with how not only more of an improvement, and not only that they seem to be more than functional, maybe they're not at the point where they can run it whenever they want, even if the other guys know it's coming. Do you think that's what happened there?
Well, Cliff, you also said it yourself. You got to be a fan of progress right here.
Yeah. So basically, sometimes coaches, it's all coaches, they want to get the ball down the field a little bit, trying to score one more time. That becomes a thing, and that gets more important than if you're just trying to drum it out and run it out. It might work, but when you got almost 11 guys at the line of scrimmage, you kind of have to throw it almost, because they're going to tackle you in the backfield and call timeout anyway.
Well, that was the first thing I thought. It was they must have had everybody in the box.
Yeah, they were pretty tight, because they were like, we can't let this kid Tracy, get another run, or Gray get another run, because he was beating them down too, and they were trying to watch. You could hear him screaming, watch the screen. So it was a lot of people, a lot of bodies up there.
Well. At some point on the show, the last couple of months, looking forward to where the O-line can get to, there was this notion of you've really arrived when you can run it, even when they know you have to do it, and the whole stadium knows it's coming. Do you think that was a situation where they might have been able to do it, or it just never is a good idea when it's that tough?
I think, and again, I'm just guessing. I'm not, because I don't know the play calls or anything or why he did it, but I'm just guessing that he was trying to get the ball further down the field.
Okay. So, yeah, well, he sure had reason to be confident in that.
Yeah, they were feeling pretty good about the receivers, the routes they were running. The tight end was doing a good job. So I think he was just trying to get it down the field a little bit and make them have to use their timeouts is what he was trying. I'm assuming what he was trying to do.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we've been getting a glimpse of what, if we didn't know already, I didn't, what kind of an offense this coach wants to have. And Schmelk was saying earlier in the preseason, he thinks Babel really wants to pass the ball a lot, and it seems like maybe we're seeing that. But in any event, I was glad to hear that Hyatt got credit for some blocking.
Yes, he did.
And he's built the same way as Flott. I was thinking maybe they didn't want him to block.
No, when you're running downfield, you're matched up. Excuse me. You're matched up with the guys that are about the same size as you, so it's not that bad of a deal. It's the problem when you kind of catch a linebacker or something. That's not very fun. Not at all when you're a receiver. I think he just, wants to be involved in the game so much that blocking was just part of it. He wants to hit somebody.
Well, that was great. I don't mind Daniel running straight up the middle, because he took somebody on too, and I figured I didn't catch the guy's number, but if he's a DB, that's not such a terrible thing for Daniel to do at 220 or 230, whatever he is, right?
Yeah, it's not a terrible thing, but for me, I like for him to run towards the edges, so when his run finishes, he kind of coasts out of bounds.
Yeah, Daniel's the type of quarterback that even on the design run plays, he's going to run and he's going to take the contact instead of just being like, okay, 10 yards, let me get down, right?
Yeah. And I don't know how good he can get down with the knee. For 1 year off of surgery, not quite a year off surgery, folding your knee and sliding. It's not probably the greatest thing. Thank you so much. Not the greatest thing, but in my mind, maybe outside, get to the sideline.
And we can blame the knee if we want to, but Daniel's never really been a slider. That's just not his game. He's the type of guy.
The kid went to Duke. He knows how to slide.
He knows how to slide, but he's a tough guy. And he likes to be like, no, let me just tough it out.
Okay.
Cliff, thanks so much.
Thanks, Cliff.
Oh, what were you gonna say? All right. Thanks so much for the call, Cliff. Always appreciate it. Yeah, it is. He's just one of those guys. Yeah, we had to get you some hydration over there.
Oh man, I was like choking over here.
I'm like in the duck. I'm like, all right, Maz, what do we got to do to get this man?
Sorry.
No, we got to. It's that time of year, A
little dust in the air. I'm like, okay.
Dust, a little this, a little that. And maybe you're just all choked up just thinking about how proud you are of this Giants team and the way that they
found the tight end.
They found the tight end, 5 catches in the game, 5 for 5 every target he came up with.
There you go.
And Theo's a good kid coming out of Penn State. I think he had a lot of he's a big body dude.
Yeah.
And he's somebody that I think, much like yourself, in your career, people look at him like, okay, he's a good blocking tight end. But he can come up with the ball.
He was a receiver the whole time. He
right.
In college he really came up with a lot of great plays. That was a big thing about him. He has great speed and he gets open, runs great deep routes, and that's what they were looking for. And like early in the season, hadn't quite gotten into the rhythm of the game yet, and I know that it just takes time for him. He's going to get there.
Yeah.
And I think John and I spoke about it maybe a week or so ago, and we were talking about how do we get him more involved. I'm like, he's just going to have to take a moment. And like I said, this was an opportunity this week, and hopefully we get Neighbors back this week.
Right.
Hopefully for his own sake with the concussion and everything. But
right.
If not, we know that there are going to be other guys going to step up. You're going to see some other faces starting to pop up in some of these routes and stuff.
Absolutely. And for those joining late, Malik Neighbors, again, still in the concussion protocol, but out on the field today working on the side.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a good sign for the guy who did not travel to Seattle because he's dealing with that concussion. Devin Singletary participated in individual drills today, limited in practice today, coming back from that groin injury.
Okay.
Guards Greg Van Roten is out sick, and or John Runyon, sorry, is out sick, and Greg Van Roten is dealing with a vet day, which Howard just learned today. I'm kidding. Howard, vet day? We didn't have those in my day.
What's a vet day?
Load management. Hey, I mean, the NBA season is just around the corner, and we are getting in the theme of it with some load management for Greg Van Roten. Listen, it's a long season. The Giants don't have a bye week until week 11.
Yep.
You want to make sure to stay healthy. I mean, some of these teams right now, you got the Chiefs and the Vikings heading into their byes in week 6. You got, some of these early byes. I think it works out well to have a bye later on in the season.
I think the bye, no offense, I think the bye, it comes kind of mid-season. If you get to the midpoint, I think it's the best time to do it. That way you can get a little recharge, you get some guys that are banged up a little bit better off. So I think that's better. The early buys, they really put you in a bad position because now you've had your bye and you got a long season. If somebody goes down, someone gets nicked up, it's harder for them to get back.
And then if you do make a playoff run, then
you're
it's
beat
even
up.
longer.
Yeah,
You're
beat up before you get there.
Yeah, all the days of all the things. But we got a long time before we talk about the Giants bye as we continue to talk about the Giants Sunday night football game. Okay, this is something that I have noticed, Howard. First of all, this year the Giants have 2 wins so far, 2-3 on the season, both on the road. They haven't won at home yet this season. It's been a little bit tough. It's also Sunday. The Giants are going to be continuing to celebrate the 100th season. Of course, it's 100 years of Giants football. Established in 1925. This is the 100th season. There's a lot to celebrate. They're going to be honoring the 2007, 2011 Super Bowl teams. They're going to be giving away Tom Coughlin bobbleheads at the gate. If you're the first 25,000 fans in attendance, there's going to be a lot of pageantry around this game.
Yep.
Not to mention, it's also Sunday night football. So there's a lot of lights. There's a lot of celebs on the sidelines during warm-ups. There's just a lot going on in a game like this. And you notice when these kind of games happen, the Giants have had struggles in the past in games in which there's been a jersey retirement or an honoring of some sort or some sort of pageantry. So between that, it could be coincidence. It could, be just a lot of noise. Between that and the Giants' struggles to win at home so far this young season, is there something to the difference between winning a game on the road and winning at home?
I think the night games specifically are the tougher games to play because you sit around all day.
Well, and your routine is off.
Routine is off, and some guys adjust to it well, some guys don't. I think winning games at home, you're expected to win at home, but remember that when the team that you're playing, like when we play on the road, you give that team, you're giving them your best shot always, but you really are giving them your best shot when you're in their place. You want to quiet the crowd. You like the crowd to hear. Like it was so cool to be at Seattle and hear people go, "Let's go Giants!" I'm like, really? I'm like, that's
also just hat tip to the Giants fans that make the trip. Giants fans travel so well, but you love to see that.
But that's what teams come here and they want to do that to the Giants as well. So like you got to really want to, keep it rolling, keep it going. And I said like if Thibodeau and Big Dex in the middle and Burns are on their game, really getting pressure on Joe, it could be one of those games where the crowd's going really nuts. The more plays they make, the louder the crowd gets. You got to keep them, and you keep them off the field. And I expect it to be really quiet when the Giants have the ball, so we can hear what's going on out there.
But we want to hear a pin drop.
We want to hear a pin drop. We want to hear like what did he just say? Did he say Omaha? I just want to make sure that we're doing it right.
Hot sauce.
But it's one of those things where it's really hard to play in a team that's coming in. This is a desperate team that's coming in.
Right.
We've been talking about them being 1-4. We're talking about they're scoring 28 points a game. They've every game they've played seems like it's gone down to the last play.
I mean, Joe Burrow says that this is not a championship team of his own team. They're coming in 1-4, trying to avoid a 1-5 start. Well, like you said, desperate team.
They're desperate. They're trying to find a way to get back, get themselves righted, so to speak. And we don't want to be the team that they get right with. We want to be the team that takes them to the wire and maybe pushes them over the edge because we got them now. That would be great.
I will say, too, though, I mean, so I don't travel with the Giants during the regular season because we stay back here, host the post-game show out of a studio in New Jersey. But, I travel during the preseason and have traveled for years covering the NBA. And one thing that I notice about a road game as opposed to a home game that's different is it's a business trip, right? Yeah. You are all, first of all, you're all together.
Yep.
As a team, as a unit, you're traveling together on the flight, on the bus, in the hotel. You're eating meals together. You're having a dinner together the night before the game. There's that extra camaraderie, that extra this, but you're also solely focused on the game.
The game, yes.
You're not waking up in the morning and, okay, let me do the laundry, let me mow the lawn, let me clean out the gutters, let me focus on some of the tasks at home.
What did she say to me?
You're not, you're not out, dropping the kids off at gymnastics or doing any of that. You are solely focused on the game. It's a business trip as opposed to a home game, especially like you said, a night game when you've got other things going on. And again, these are professional athletes and they're locked in and this is their job. And I'm not making an excuse, but it is just a different mental approach. And so like as a professional athlete yourself, like how did you manage that when you play?
Oh, it's easy. It's like us against the world.
Right.
That was the mentality. You go together. It's like you're marching your army onto to enemy soil and you're about to fight.
Yeah.
And you're all together.
And your army shows up together in a bus as opposed to everyone individually pulling up and
let the big guys get off first. Look at these guys getting off the bus. Oh man, these guys look tough. Okay, it was an army. That's what it was. You're basically you're together. It's you against the world. The crowd's going to be crazy. Like I used to love going to like the old Cleveland Stadium when they had the dog pound. I used to love going to the old RFK Stadium and listening to their band play. And then all of a sudden, silence.
Yeah.
It was just, those were like great years and great places to play. It was fun. And then when you go to someone else's house and get those games and you get out there and get those big wins. Exactly.
But at a home game and a home win just hits different as well because you do it in front of the people that you see every week. You've got the season ticket holders. You got the fans that like I know when I walk around this corner, I'm going to see these certain guys that always sit there and I'm going to say hello to those fans over here and the people are going to say hi. There's just something different and it's a different experience of a home game. And it's, the focus goes from, okay, we're on a business trip or we're coming in as the invading army to, okay, we're all showing up and meeting at headquarters and defending this turf.
Yeah, and I think that the big I'm choking again.
It's all right.
It's all right. Excuse me.
It's all choked up talking about playing at MetLife Stadium.
I think that when you're at home,
yeah,
the ideal of defending your ground is a big one too. And like some coaches, that's a thing. We got to defend this house.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those things that if the players have that kind of mentality, it's really cool. I send my son text before every game, and if he's at home, I said, I can't believe. It'll start off saying, I can't believe they're on your grounds again. And he's like, and then I'll make it up some story for him that he's about to go into a battle. He writes back, thanks, Dad. It's just hilarious.
That's cute.
Yeah.
How dare they? You're pulling your own, what is it, Captain Andrew Luck kind of?
It's hilarious.
Dear mother.
All right, it's hilarious. Like, how dare they be on your grounds again?
The audacity.
Come
all right.
marching in here with their RVs. Who are they?
Shout out to Howard Cross III and Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Yep. We got the big Stanford Cardinal this weekend. Good luck there, kiddo.
Good luck to see it. We love to see it. Notre Dame Stanford is almost as exciting as Giants-Bengals Sunday night football.
No, it's not. Not close. Not close.
But it always is when it's your son.
It is, but nope, not close.
I know. That's fair. Sunday night football, it's going to be so much fun. I always love the Sunday night games. I love the primetime games. We're going to be waiting all day for Sunday night. Yeah, everybody knows.
She'll be zooted and suited, guys. She'll be, Madelyn be out there showing off.
First of all, looks don't serve themselves. Obviously.
I know that. Yeah, that's right.
Matt's like, I know that's right.
He's gonna be like, hey, I'm in a suit myself.
Right? We got to be Sunday best, ladies and gents. We'll be out there. Howard will be on the sideline as per always. Yep. I'll be doing post game as per always. But we got a whole week of preparation because, of course, just now the Giants are just starting on the practice field as we speak, starting their preparation for the Bengals. And we've got a week worth of shows here on Big Blue Kickoff Live as the rotation of hosts continue to prepare you for Week 6. Howard, any last thoughts, parting words before we say farewell to our friends out here?
Who that think they're going to beat them Bengals? Is that what they say? Who that?
We that?
We that. Yeah.
We they?
We them.
We they?
We them.
We them?
I don't know.
We art thou. I don't know. Let's workshop that. I'm sure Brandon London, the hymn C, will have some sort of chant coming on too. So if you're going to be out there at MetLife Stadium again, first 25,000 fans are going to receive a bobblehead. First of all, I'm going to get there early. I'm going to need a bobblehead. I love a bobblehead.
If I see you with a bobblehead, I'm going to have a problem.
I mean, first of all, don't block my blessings. All right. Thanks for listening to today's episode of Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. BBK is a part of the Giants podcast platforms everywhere and giants.com/podcast. For Howard Cross, I'm Madelyn Burke. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you next time.